Hello and welcome to Nick V Uncensored. Today we've got Dr. Diane Kazer, and today we're going to be talking about health, politics, and censorship and the peptides shutdown, Ozempic, people gaining a lot of weight, and there's a very big trap going on there that Big Pharma doesn't want to talk about. But just before we begin, we're back on YouTube, and I want to just obey, rebelliously obey YouTube guidelines by saying that this is for educational and entertainment purposes only. We're not making any claims. We're not financial or health advisors. We urge you to do your own research. And again, we're not making any claims. Dr. Diane, thank you so much for joining me. How are you, and what have you been up to?
Hey, Nick, thank you so much. Thank you. Because that medical disclaimer is what I have to say too as a doctor, especially now with what we're going to talk about today. So thanks for looking out for both of us.
Absolutely.
I'm doing great. I'm living the dream where I'm at right now in the Caribbean and Mexico. And we're definitely seeing chemtrails here. So we're not unlike the United States and unlike other parts of the world. It's not total paradise here, but I came here for a reason a couple of years ago, seeing the writing on the wall with what was going to happen with America and the dictatorship and now health dictatorship, which is what we're going to talk about today. How are you, Nick?
Oh, fantastic. I'm really good, and I'm enjoying these interviews because I get a chance and the opportunity to interview many great people like yourselves and just learn every day. And I just get stimulated. And then sometimes I do interviews and I just regurgitate back, just to, reinforce the message, So, I love it. Yeah, that's what I'm doing. So where do we begin? Because I've noticed actually a number of people that have all of a sudden, and I've got a number of them in my family actually, like cousins of mine, females, they've been taking Ozempic or something, Ozempic or a peptide or something like that, and they've lost dramatically a lot of weight. Like they were like really oversized, like fat to obesity in that bracket, like in between that bracket. And then they just look like supermodels. And all of a sudden, a year goes by, and now they're all at the same time, because they all speak to each other. And I don't know what's going on here, but all of them at the same time are putting on back the weight. So what's going on?
Wow. It's like group hive like minds, right? It's interesting because we have to follow like the marketing trail. Like we've all been so brainwashed that Ozempic is the shortcut. Ozempic is all that you need. And we also associate, I'm a former pro soccer player and competitive bodybuilder. I don't say that to impress you. I say that to impress upon you that I've always been trim because I've always prioritized movement. And so for me, if I don't move, my brain doesn't feel as good. I don't think as well. I'm not as clear. I'm more depressed. I'm more anxious. I can't sleep, all the things, right? So exercise is our greatest medicine, period. So is food. We've forgotten that. And so people take the shortcut to taking these jabs, these stabs. They're just another jab, right? And then they have the same nanoparticles in it, the same graphene oxide, the same chemical-based structure that we've seen in the other jabs. So I know we have to kind of be careful about how we're saying things here on YouTube, but I have been very thin in preparation for my shows, like the people that you're speaking to. They look like supermodels, but I felt the worst I'd ever felt when I was 10% body fat. Malnourished, protein deficient, and not getting the nutrients that we need, not only for beauty, but also energy. And ultimately, what I want to talk about today too is immunity. Just because you're skinny doesn't mean that you are exempt from or reduced odds of cancer or cholesterol issues or heart disease or autoimmune disease. In fact, sometimes people who are that thin, if they don't address the toxins that made them overweight or obese to begin with, which is the number one reason why they are overweight and obese, that's the metabolic disaster, right? If they don't address the root cause reasons, all these toxins in their body, and they get thin, well, these toxins now don't have a place to be stored, which used to be in the fat cells. So our body adapts. It's beautiful. So it's this beautiful temple that was created by God. Our body adapts, and it actually stores these toxins in the safest area of the body, which is fat. So then when people get skinny, but they're still as toxic, which again is why they gain weight to begin with, then they're even more toxic because now these toxins are getting stored in tissues and their brain and their organs and their connective tissues, ligaments, skin, and they're even more sick. So we recently just saw a study on this, Nick, and to your point, I wanted to make sure everybody really gets this, that just because you're skinny doesn't mean that you're healthy, right? Period.
Yes.
So here's the slide I wanted to show. The first thing, and it's an association to the 2 points that we're making. One of them is the right one. People who come off slimming jabs regain weight 4 times faster than dieters based on a new study. And the second one is impending disaster. Scientists warn that cancer deaths are surging worldwide. And this is not just for people who have taken the jab. We could also put jabs into Ozempic, Wegovy, Mounjaro. So we are going to talk about how to lose weight the right way, how to build your immune system the healthy way, and do all of this so it doesn't feel like so much work to do all at the same time. So this could be one of the answers you were looking for, Nick. Is that kind of speaking to the vein of what you're seeing?
No, absolutely. And the other thing I want to talk about is that what I would like to add is that these people that are going on these jabs and Ozempic and weight loss things, they're not even eating healthy. They're eating like chocolates and crisps and burgers. And yes, they're not eating a lot, but they're eating the wrong stuff. And their body is being starved from, natural food and nutrition and vitamins. So they're actually, so it's really not good. I'm worried about them, very worried.
Me too. And I'm not saying that GLPs at a blanket statement are necessarily bad for us, because I think it's important for everybody to understand that GLPs are not just some random chemical that was made in China that made its way to production for either non-human recommended research peptides, which I also have to say for my own medical disclaimer, these are still research peptides. They didn't just randomly show up. Our gut makes them. In fact, our gut is like you were mentioning about nutrition, vitamins, mineral. Our gut makes, it's like a vitamin store. It's like a mineral store. It's a peptide manufacturing facility. And we make them on our own, but over time, the more of these foods that you're talking about, Nick, that is the single number one greatest reason why people cannot make their own GLP in their gut like they once used to. Like when you were a teenager, remember we used to be able to eat whatever we wanted. We didn't gain anything. And I remember my brother was trying to gain weight and they were just stuffing him like a cow trying to gain weight. And he didn't gain any weight, but he was eating a lot of calories, but they weren't healthy calories. They weren't healthy, dense proteins. They were, meal replacement shakes and things like that. So anytime you're consuming things like lots of sugar, as well as seed oils. This is anytime you eat out, you're pretty much getting canola oil, vegetable oil. All these are GMO, and it's turning down your body's ability to make GLPs. So we need to get back to the foundations, because if and when, which it's more when than if, they take away our ability to purchase these research peptides, like you and I've talked about in the previous shows, Nick. Well, people can still purchase retatrutide on their own, and we'll put the links below if you guys would like to purchase them. They're behind a VIP paywall. You have to actually, on Nick's page, you'll see, click here for VIP peptides. Just put your name and email address, and you can get retatrutide, which is, in my perspective, the best GLP. And it's not like semaglutide where it just slows gastric emptying, and it actually doesn't teach you and help your body with metabolism and mitochondria. And that's one of the reasons why people are gaining weight at a more accelerated rate with just the ones that they're getting without all the research, as well as recommendations on how to live a healthy lifestyle alongside of it. So you can still get retatrutide for like $100 a month versus most people who are paying for semaglutide in the form of Ozempic, $1,200, $1,500 a month. And the main thing that you mentioned, Nick, and this is what everybody needs to know, is the people are taking these injections, these GLPs, as shortcuts. And if they're not addressing their lifestyle and detox and also eating the right things and moving, the shortcut actually becomes a short hell quickly thereafter. And there is actually this study that was found, it was a large review that was published in the British Medical Journal in your neck of the woods, looked at 37 clinical trials and more than 9,300 adults using GLP-1 medications like semaglutide and tirzepatide. We call retatrutide, which is not yet a drug, but it will soon very well be within the first quarter of 2026 is what we're hearing. Retatrutide is one that we talk about and that you guys, again, can still get access to for like $100 a month. We call that a GLP-3. I'll come back to this study. But GLP-1 medications like semaglutide, tirzepatide, that's what you can get from Wegovy, Mounjaro, Ozempic. The weight came off during treatment. Yes, we did see that. But once the medication stopped, the body responded fast. And on average, people regained nearly 1 pound per month. And what that looked like is they returned back to their starting weight between 1.5 to 2 years. And it could be even faster than that if people are not eating healthy and taking care of their body and moving like we were supposed to. Our bodies are supposed to move like 10 miles a day, like we used to. Most people are barely walking a mile. So even things like blood pressure, which improved, or brain clarity, or depression, anxiety, ADD, ADHD, cholesterol, et cetera, high cholesterol, it reversed within about 18 months of getting off the medication. So this is what people need to get, that this is a short time gain for a long time, even more weight gain. So how do we do this the right way, the healthy way, while we can, because they are going to take retatrutide away. Eli Lilly owns it. It's their patent. So they're closing down peptide companies left and right.
Right, I see. And you're saying that we've got it here available for everyone to have access to.
Yeah, we do. Yeah. And so there's something I want to talk to everybody about today, because we don't know what the future holds in the peptide space. In fact, another slide I want to share here, Nick, and you and I have talked about this a lot on our shows. So, sorry, let me go back. This is not letting me share. Good timing. What is my slideshow doing?
Is it giving you a hard time? Is it?
Yeah, hold on just a second. I have no idea. My operating system just updated 2 nights ago, and so all this stuff is kind of rogue. Okay, see if this works. What? Okay, hold on a second, Nick. I'm just going to open up a different slide deck.
Yeah. Do what you got to do. Yeah.
Really weird. I always do this just in case. Okay, I'm going to go right to the slide. So we've talked about this before, Nick. FDA's war on public health is about to end. This includes its aggressive suppression of psychedelics, peptides, stem cells, raw milk, hyperbaric therapies, chelating compounds, ivermectin, hydroxychloroquine, vitamins, clean foods, sunshine, exercise, nutraceuticals, anything else that advances human health and can't be patented by pharma. That was RFK just close to 2 years ago. And we got really excited about that. That's been the whole, MAHA movement, that Make America Healthy Again, right? So we got real excited about the political backing of access to these peptides. It was working for a while until it didn't. So at this point now, the stage of the game that we're in is that there's been cease and desist letters that have been sent to many of these peptide companies that have been around for a long time. A lot of them are going to shut down. There has been felonies on some of them. The way that the FDA sees it, that they have been committing crimes. And I can't tell you everything personally about these companies, but what I can say is anything I'm talking about today is, again, do your own research. If you do want to work with a doctor team, we have a group and we can support you guys there, but there's only so much we can say publicly. However, people's ability to access these peptides as of first quarter 2026, all of the tides, semaglutide, tirzepatide, which are now medications and you can't purchase from any peptide companies, with the exception of a few, and retatrutide, that's been the one that I see the greatest benefit when the patients that we're working with, they've tried semaglutide, tirzepatide before, and then when they start taking retatrutide, they have the same side effects they experienced before with Ozempic, Wegovy, or just semaglutide or tirzepatide by themselves without them being medications. Their stomach would hurt. They would get nauseous. They would feel tired. They wouldn't get the intended desired result that so many other people were getting with weight loss, specifically their brain health, right? They might be losing weight, but their brain didn't feel right. So what's it worth? If you're losing weight, but you don't feel great, what is it really worth, right? We've been seeing that like 1,900 people who are taking Ozempic, they lost their eyesight. They're losing organ function. They got thyroid cancer. And these are black box warnings on these medications. So now if we lose retatrutide for public access for your purchase as a research peptide that they say is not intended for human use, it's now going to become a drug. And the only way you can get access to it is through a compound pharmacy. You're going to probably pay 4 to 10 times more than what you could pay now, which is $100 a month. And we'll put the links below so you guys can do that while we can. And they're also only going to be available through a doctor. So that's going to be something that's going to be changing. And there is talk that they want to take away BPC, make that a medication. They've taken away our favorite mitochondria enhancer, which is energy enhancing. The reason why so many people are tired, they have brain fog, they're getting diseased, they're getting sick, is because mitochondria is what helps us build energy and also cell signal. Like our body can't communicate within our parts without mitochondria. Bottom line, yes. Period, end of story. They took away SS31, which is one of our favorite peptides. So now that's going to become a drug. That's only going to be available through your doctor, and it's going to be marked up 5 to 15 times more. So there are certain peptides that are still available. And I want to talk about one that's in capsule form that's similar to retatrutide, so that if and when the day comes that we can no longer access it, you guys still can at least purchase what we call the exercise mimetic, which is like we call it exercise in a capsule. And it also works very similar to retatrutide, and it's very inexpensive. It's less than $100 a month. So I want to talk about those things, but also the key tenets that are making us sick. And our immune system is really, I'm calling it zero immunity, Nick, because at this point, with all the toxins, the signs are that your body is gaining weight. There's no more immune system resilience. We're getting sick often. People are getting cancer. That other statistic that I showed, cancer deaths and the growth is happening worldwide, but spiking in America specifically. There's a reason for that. And it's not just genetic. It's not just random. It's not just from the sun. It's not because you're stressed. It's we're being poisoned. So my recommendation for everyone is that while this peptide shutdown begins, you need to get real about your health, because there will be no more shortcuts. And if you want them, they're going to be very expensive and costly to your health.
Absolutely. No, definitely. And we have to get the nutrition right as well and everything and become more aware. But this is it. This is what, Big Pharma's doing. They're trying to, obviously, this is what their game was all about, is profit and keeping you unhealthy so you can have more medication, more profit for them. And it's just a cycle. It's a trap, Yeah. But yeah, we just have to keep doing this, spreading awareness and things like that. Do we have more slides that you'd like to share, or is that it for today? Or
no, I've got a few more. And actually, yeah. I want to share what this immune system collapse looks like. So people think that it's just weight gain, and that's the only problem. But like I mentioned, if you have excess weight, excess fat, if you are having a hard time losing weight, and if you don't feel good, if you have hormonal imbalance, if you have a lot of other issues related to the brain, this is what we're seeing. And I'm calling it zero immunity. And that's the real problem. You need a healthy immune system in order to burn fat for fuel and produce a lot of these immunoglobulins to protect you from pathogens and poisons and parasites, right? So when we're getting sick, there was a documentary years ago called Fat, Sick, and Nearly Dead. Well, that's where we're at. And it's no offense to people. I'm not calling anybody fat. Fat is actually an organ that's there to protect you. And so the more fat you have, the more toxic that you are, and the more your immune system is struggling. So we have to associate obesity and overweight with immunity and low functioning immunity, and hence therefore cancer, autoimmune disease, brain fog, Alzheimer's, Parkinson's, neurodegeneration, ADD, ADHD, and all the other brain related disease and neuroinflammation and neurodegeneration that we're seeing. So these are the signs of the American trajectory of immune collapse. We're seeing people who have increasing food, chemical, and environmental sensitivities, rising rates of mast cell activation syndrome, which is basically like when you're like, oh my God, my histamines are going crazy. I must just have allergies. I might just need an asthma inhaler. This is not just caused because you were handed down asthma. This is caused because your body's toxic and your cells are extremely stressed, which is a sign of your immune system that's struggling. We need to rebuild that or else you don't have life. So this is not just about looking good anymore. This is about life and living and survival, right?
Mm.
So autoimmune disease is now affecting 1 in 5 Americans and increasing. Chronic fatigue, pain, anxiety, and brain fog becoming normal, frequent infections or slow recovery after illness, poor wound healing and accelerated aging, escalating cancer. I mentioned all of these already. And then all these different diagnoses that people are being treated for with medications as separate problems. And they're being given prednisone and antihistamines and antidepressants and Wegovy, Ozempic, Mounjaro. None of those are fixing the problem. They're not even shortcuts. They're hell cuts. They're literally not addressing the root cause why you're gaining weight and having all these issues to begin with, including chronic disease. It's not going to go away. However, I will argue, Nick, that if we do start to address the obesity and the excess weight, while we're also supporting drainage so that your body can detox these toxins and reduce your toxic burden, that's where you're going to have lasting weight loss. That's where you're not only going to look good, you're going to feel good. Your odds of disease and cancer are going to reduce because we're starting to address the root cause why people get sick and lose their immunity to begin with. And why I keep calling it zero immunity, because I see that in stool tests. We see that people's immune system is struggling. They are at immune collapse. So I'm not just speaking hypothetically here. We're speaking because the patients we see in stool testing, their immune system is basically gone. And we saw that people who took the jab, they lost a lot of these healthy microbes that not only are supportive of a healthy immune system to protect us, but are also responsible for GLP production in the gut. If you don't have healthy microbes, you can't lose weight and you can't protect your body. So we need warriors to not only support immune system, but we also need it for weight loss. And so I will argue that losing weight is one of the first steps to helping to reduce your chronic disease burden, but you also need to address what's making you sick to begin with. Nick, any follow-up before I talk about this slide? Because I think this is a really important transition.
Yeah, no, this is really important about what you said about weight loss. Although the peptides are really good and I'm really for it and I've tried them myself and I think they're great, I really do feel that learning as well how to control your food consumption, mentally and emotionally really strengthens your discipline levels as well. So I think that's a really good thing that we have to consider as well to evolve.
Yeah, let me actually go backwards, Nick. I'm going to go backwards. So people think that eating healthy is about logic, willpower. They need to have enough money to buy healthy foods. People make a lot of excuses or reasons around why they can't eat healthy. I meet people where they're at, and a lot of people know they should be eating healthier, but they don't. They can't for whatever reason. The number one reason why people are struggling with this is not doing better, even though they know better, is not because of willpower. It's because of deplete brain chemicals called neurotransmitters. And when our brain isn't producing these healthy neurotransmitters, we might be dopamine deficient, serotonin deficient, norepinephrine deficient. And what feels really good when we're deficient in these is the things that we're addicted to, like the sugars, the alcohol, the toxic foods, the fast foods, the processed foods. That gives us a hit of dopamine. It gives us hits of serotonin. So we must address chemistry in the body. And here is the single greatest reason why people are struggling with that is because when the body is toxic, what we're looking at here, Nick, is a body. We test people, and this is the first step to really getting healthy and to education, where education meets biology and chemistry and toxicity. So this is the average patient we see. They pee in a cup, they send it back to our labs, and we look for about 100 different toxins. And the main ones that are causing people to blunt their motivation, and then I'm not doing better, but I know better, these neurochemicals in the brain. So this is somebody who's mold toxic, heavy metal toxic, environmental toxic. All of these toxins will blunt our body's ability to cell signal and communicate, hey, I should be eating healthy protein, and actually crave the things that we need. So when our patients start to see these things and we help facilitate detox, not only in their body, but their environment, they start to make better decisions. So the education around eating more protein, eating less sugar, eating less GMOs, eating more healthy fats, it becomes easier because they actually crave the foods that we're designed to consume. And so that's one of the things I like so much about the peptides is that some of these peptides that are less than $100 a month, retatrutide and Sloop in capsule form, they can take that and just that. And everybody who I'm working with that reports back to me says, I cannot believe it. Like in one day or 1 week or 1 month, I'm not craving the junk food that I once craved before. And not only that, if I do eat it, the pleasure centers of my brain are not saying, ooh, this feels good, this tastes good. They actually stop eating it because it tastes disgusting to them.
Yeah.
So when your biology starts to improve because we reduce the chemistry of the toxicity, then everything starts to work better. And it's that bridge that a lot of people need.
I see what you mean. It's detoxifying as well to get that stuff, because it's true, when we eat processed foods, a lot of the chemicals that shouldn't be in our body actually has also a very big impact in how we crave food. And then we spiral into this horrible lifestyle as well. Absolutely. Okay, cool. Let's get on to the next slide.
Yeah, so I wanted to share a little bit more about, there's a couple of different things. So the two final takeaways that I'll help you guys with here is that number one, there are peptides that you still have access to now. We're at a place with this peptide shutdown that it's the wild, wild west. It's a gray area. We have no idea how long they're going to be available at the rate that they are now. Thankfully, one of the companies that we love, and we'll put the links below for you guys to consider, they still have a lot of these peptides available. So we have Sloop and Retta. Sloop is in capsule form. We call this the exercise mimetic, and you can see the benefits of it listed here versus retatrutide, which is a GLP, which soon will possibly and probably be taken away from our ability to purchase them as research peptides that you can use at your own risk. We talk about these things in my membership group, or how you can use them, how you can cycle on and off of them. And everything like Nick and I talk about here is not intended to diagnose or treat or to suggest anything that you should be doing. It's for consideration. But right now, let's say they take away retatrutide. Let's say it's no longer available for purchase, which you can purchase it now. You can look at Sloop. Sloop is in capsule form. You can take 1 or 2 a day, which most people do. Not a suggestion, just a consideration. And I have a free guide where you guys can download on Nick's link, which is dianekazer.com/NBTV. You could download what you might consider taking on a regular basis for these things. What they found in mice studies, Nick, is with Sloop alone, because Sloop doesn't get a lot of traction because it's not a medication. It's not a peptide that Western medicine has taken yet away from us, doesn't have a patent on like they do with retatrutide. What they found in mice studies with Sloop is that these mice lost 12% of their body weight in 1 month. They were able to work out for longer. They had 78% increased endurance rates. So this is like one of those things where we see 5 major benefits of Sloop, and it doesn't get a lot of publicity because what we're hearing a lot is GLPs, because that's what we're seeing commercials on. Everybody's talking about it, right? And these, miracle weight loss injections. But Sloop is a little bit different. It doesn't suppress appetite as much as retatrutide. Some people take retatrutide or any of these other ones, semaglutide, tirzepatide, and they lose their craving for food, which is not good because, to your point earlier, Nick, we need food for the proteins, the amino acids. We need it for healthy fats. Your cells are made up of a nucleus, and the outside membrane is made of fat, and the inside is made of protein. The less you're eating of these healthy things in your diet, which should be number one, the less your cells are getting what they need so that you can even use peptides. And our body makes like 30,000 plus a day. So none of this is new. Our body makes all these things. They're just, we're not able to make them as much because of all the interference of poisons and the processed foods that we're consuming. So this is just something to consider, you guys, what retatrutide does versus Sloop. And what Sloop is specifically that retatrutide is not, is it actually increases mitochondrial activity and fat oxidation, and it is an exercise mimetic. On the other hand, retatrutide, what it is known to repair is insulin sensitivity and insulin resistance, weight reduction, and appetite regulation. So everybody gets to decide what's best for them. The bottom line also with Sloop versus retatrutide is that with retatrutide, there's a rebound risk if root causes are not addressed. It's the last thing that you're seeing on this slide. And the Sloop, there is much less dramatic scale change. But again, this is all doing, we're looking at research, we're looking at science and the data on all these things. And so it's important to know the distinction between the two of them. But after March, April, if they do take away, the peptides that are GLPs like retatrutide, which again, you can purchase right now. I would stock up on these things if I were you guys. But Sloop is also a great runner-up. I don't start everybody on GLPs because I want to help with their mitochondria issues first. And some people, their bodies need their metabolism back. The people that we're working with do not experience the rebound weight gain when they get off GLPs. Why? Because like you said earlier, Nick, it is so important to address the key tenets of what really makes you healthy. Eating healthy amounts of protein, eating healthy amounts of fats, addressing detox, making sure the toxins are draining well properly. Everybody that we work with, their drainage is not working well. They're not sweating properly. They're not pooping as much as they should be. They're not exercising because they don't have the energy. So what Sloop can do, as well as addressing this whole lifestyle to begin with and education, which is what we do, and we're having an event that starts in February, I'd love to invite you guys to. We need to make sure that all of those things are there first. Before anybody goes in GLPs, you need to be sure that you're moving, that you're eating healthy, enough protein, and that you're really addressing toxic burden. Or else, just like the study showed, you're going to gain weight even faster and more. And then you're not going to feel good, you're going to feel worse. This is what they're seeing in studies. I'm not going to say that a blanket statement, everybody will experience that, but people need to address toxic burden. And that is what really makes your peptide journey work even better. And your body then starts making peptides on its own again, and you won't need to be so codependent on them on the outside.
Absolutely. Very well said, Dr. Diane Kazer. You explained that very well. Well, the link is below in the description. So click on the link if so everyone's got access to it. You've got access to it, availability. Dr. Diane, thank you so much for sharing everything with us today. Do you have anything else that you'd like to say to the viewers before we finish?
Yeah. I don't want you all to feel like we're selling you things. That's like people are so on edge about, another promotion, another commercial, another thing. What I'm all about as a doctor of traditional naturopathy is educating you guys so that you can be your own best doctor and you won't need to make so many trips to the doctor. So what we're doing next month, starting in February, is we're teaching you how to read your own labs. And I'm not talking about blood tests, because that's where everybody starts. That's where the doctor starts them. But knowing what toxins are in your body. And that's a simple urine test. So we're doing a group, and we love you guys to join us. And for Nick's audience, we're giving you guys $500 off. It's going to be an 8-week long thing. It's going to be amazing. We're going to teach you guys where you're exposed to toxins in your environment and your personal care products. The average person where they're using toxic cleaning products, it's equivalent to smoking 20 cigarettes a day. Yeah. So even cleaning up your personal care products, your beauty products, your skincare, everything, your supplements, your medications, all of it, knowing where those toxins are in your environment. And then the second part of that is helping you read your own labs that we're going to send to you. And then we're going to help you understand what these labs mean, what these toxins are, how they're causing your disease. So if you really want to get rid of disease and the likelihood that you might get the genetic one that you might get passed down that is really not as genetic as it's epigenetic, that means toxins that have been passed down to you from your mom. The average baby's born with like 260 toxins before they even take their first breath. This is what we're hoping to address, so that you guys need to buy less supplements, less peptides, and just focus on the foundations. Once you're there, then you guys can start to get better on your own and not be so married to and codependent on medications, because the more medications you take, the more you're moving toward immune system collapse because they're not addressing the root cause. So I'm a champion of you guys being your own best doctor. And this is exactly how we're teaching how to do it.
No, that's fantastic. And this is what this platform's about. It's about offering solutions and exposing the control system.
Yes.
And this is what we have right below in the links. And this is something that is very hard to come by with, and this is the purpose of our mission. So Dr. Diane Kazer, thank you very much for your time. I really appreciate that. Your amazing work. And we'll speak again very soon. You take care. Bye-bye.
Thanks, Nick. You too. Bye, everyone.